Good morning mga ka-tribu. It's Wednesday once again. Welcome to another episode of Straight Talk, where we discuss important matters that impact all of us. I'm Chito Lozada.
And good morning, I'm Teddy Montelibano, and we're live on Daily Tribune's Facebook page, Tribune now on YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok.
So in today's episode, we're excited to have with us a guest who's making waves in the tech and transportation industry. We're gonna dive into his insights on how the application is shaping up the future of mobility in the Philippines.
Without further ado, we would like to welcome to the studio, to our show, the head of Grab Philippines, Mr. Ronald Roda.
Hi, Ronald.
Good morning, Mr. Roda.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, it's our pleasure
Ted
to
and Chito.
thank you for honoring us with your presence here.
Despite your busy schedule.
We have you're very popular because a lot of people that I know use app. I use app. I'm an app.
Thank you.
I'm a Grab app user.
Grab really changed the mobility scene here in the Philippines.
Yes,
Made
okay.
traveling easier.
Well, first off, could you give us a little introduction about yourself? Just give us a capsule, an introduction of yourself.
Yeah. Okay, Ted. Chito. So I've been in Grab for I think 7-8 years. No? 7 or 8 years.
Okay.
I joined at a time when we were competing with Uber.
With Uber, right?
In 2018, right? And then I went through parang different roles and functions through the years, no? Until I assumed country leadership last year I think in third quarter last year. No? Prior to that, my background is mostly management consulting, spending time in different places in the world, no? Consulting with parang the biggest companies. I think it prepared me for parang the challenges of running a tech company like Grab in the Philippines.
Okay. Yeah. Was there any company previous to Grab that was similar? I mean, that you worked in? Was there anything?
So, yes and no. I mean, I've been mostly in tech. No? So, for example, my previous stint before Grab was a stint in Indonesia for the second largest telco, Indosat. And then before that was Accenture Technology, which is really like parang digitizing companies. No? So I've been heavily into tech in Southeast Asia. So I think parang I was a good fit for Grab coming in 2018.
Okay. Yeah. When you started, I mean, I was just like reading, backgrounders on you, and it's apparently when you started, Grab only had eight vehicles or something.
No naman. But when I started, it was with and that was right before we merged with Uber, right? We didn't really have much presence. We were in 8 cities, including Metro Manila.
8 cities in the zone.
Some in Visayas, including like Cebu.
When you started, you were already in
When I
Visayas?
started in 2018, we were in Visayas.
In 2018.
We were very small. But Grab I think started in 2012, 2013.
Okay.
Like 5-6 years before me. And it was purely taxi at that time.
Yes.
Before parang this model of
Correct,
ride-hailing
yeah.
came. No?
And Uber was the one with the private cars.
Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
it was. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. Okay, and then what happened to you? Apparently you made an impact on the company right away.
No naman. I think I came right before we merged, no? And I was in charge of parang the merger was announced and I had to parang merge the two companies from a Philippine standpoint at that time in 2018. No? And that included, I think, if I recall, parang 6 weeks to onboard 35,000 drivers.
Wow.
Right?
In 6
35,000.
Yeah, employees, like
Yeah.
a few hundred employees, suppliers, and then migrating parang customers. No? So parang it was for me it was a chaotic time but fun because I was new, and then I had to do that.
New and young. All the energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that was the merger between Uber.
yeah, that was 2018.
That was 2018.
That's ages ago, no? So parang I think,
Yeah, well, 7 years ago.
I think the pandemic kind of cast a cloud over us, and everything before that, parang it became,
Yeah.
Everything before pandemic, and then now it's after.
How were you doing before the pandemic, for 2020?
No, we were doing quite well. We had, I mean, in
The
2018.
merger was in place.
Yeah, the merger was in place.
Okay.
We had launched Grab Food. Grab Food, our
Grab
food delivery
Food.
service.
Correct.
Delivery service.
Yeah.
Which was good for the pandemic.
Yeah, which, by the way, when the pandemic came, it was very new,
Yeah.
and it became parang ultimately our core product during the
Yes.
pandemic. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I mean, what? But then I wasn't here. It's a good thing I escaped from Metro Manila.
So
in
entering
2020.
entering Grab, what is your primary vision?
No, for me, coming in on the third quarter, I was privileged to to inherit parang a very fast-growing business from my predecessor, Grace. So we grew very well during the pandemic. We grew well after, still growing well now. No?
Yeah.
So I think it's imperative that I build on parang that, no?
Okay.
That legacy, and then add things to ultimately make it my own. No? Yeah. So parang the way I would look at it is, we've grown a lot. And so as we move forward, we need to share that growth or that success with what I would think are parang different partners on our platform. So if you look at Grab, we're just a platform for drivers, MSMEs, which is really restaurants, small groceries, diba?
Yes.
And then customers. So as we grow, I think it's time to give back, to ultimately to these stakeholders and make sure that they grow with us, right? And I would call that parang inclusive prosperity or success. So I think that's kind of how I see it. So continue to grow, but at the same time, parang give back to drivers, MSMEs, and the public.
When you say you give back,
Yeah, when I say give back, what does
do you
that mean?
Yeah.
So from a driver standpoint, we are a major creator of jobs. So we've actually committed to create 500,000 jobs over the past 5 years, and that's
Over the
a
past
commitment
5
to
years,
the
yeah.
administration.
Starting when? Over the
We
past-
started in
500,000.
2023.
Okay.
We're probably at almost a 200,000
Yes.
jobs level at this point. No? I don't have the exact numbers. But we've been creating livelihoods, especially as we expanded outside of Metro Manila.
Okay.
So livelihoods is one big thrust. But the second big thrust is to make sure everyone earns what I call family wage. So if you
Which
look at
family
Grab
wage?
drivers, they don't earn minimum wage, right? They earn family wages, which is in Manila around at least 1,200, 1,112 a day. So parang it's what economists call necessary for a family of 4 or 5 to survive. So that's kind of what we aim for as a minimum. And obviously, the more they do, the higher, no.
The
But
living wage.
yeah, so I think that's one. So that's one commitment. We hire people. All right, well, not hire. We onboard drivers. We help them
What's the term that you use? You inboard.
onboard.
You onboard. Okay.
So we onboard, we help provide parang decent earnings, which is at least family wages, some double all the way up, depending on how they perform. And now we're heavily moving into parang social protection, which is like,
Social
Like,
protection.
yeah, so parang there's been a lot of debate around, gig workers. Yes, gig workers, diba? Gig economy.
Gig
Like
economy.
people who kind of are contractors who go on their app, diba? That's gig economy. Ultimately, parang they're not employees, diba? But they do earn very well at their own pace and at their own time. But there has to be some, and so
beyond the
beyond just earnings,
Earnings.
there has to be some kind of programs to help them parang, go through parang the challenges of life. No? So for example, I don't know, PhilHealth comes to mind. No? So for example, we just launched a pilot in Cebu to help them get pag-ibig, to help them siguro do savings
These are the
and
drivers?
build houses. Yeah,
Grabe, ang galing, ah.
see they're not employees. No?
they're not employees.
employees.
So we
They're partners.
foster. For some, we pay if they're maybe full time or whatever. But for the rest, we allow. If you're part time, then we facilitate parang your contributions.
No,
So,
she doesn't. Yeah, okay.
because ultimately, gig workers, some work 1 hour, some work 2, some work 8, some work 10, right? So parang it's not there's no parang standard
Depends
for
on-
what they are.
Sure.
Depends on kind of what they
Their
want to do,
choice.
diba? So what we're trying to do is parang give them the best of both worlds, no? The flexibility, some level of parang protection and income, to help them parang with their life. So that's one example of success from a driver standpoint. From the other side, the MSMEs, meaning the mom and pop
Restaurants, yeah.
stores and the home restaurants that want to be on Grab Food or Grab Mart. we basically enable them with tools and loans, no? To do parang analysis of their sales online, do their own ads, mga ganyan.
Is there a Grab bank?
There's no bank. We do have what we call Grab Financial, which is our own payments, lending, insurance business that serves basically our own drivers and MSMEs.
MSMEs.
So typically, like, parang during the pandemic, what we learned was like a lot of these small merchants, they need capital to parang expand their branches, right? A lot of them, like, from Cebu, they went to Manila, or Davao, they went to other parts of Visayas. So we try to help facilitate that through loans or parang advertising
So
parang for them.
that's the future of Grab, no? You're going to the more bigger slice of the economy with MSMEs, involvement in MSMEs.
So yes, kasi parang the drivers are unique to us, but obviously there's parang these platforms, restaurateurs, etc. Diba?
And Filipinos are basically lazy, and they love to eat. You know, I have an only child. My daughter lives abroad, and the first thing when she comes here, Papa, you're eating again. Everybody is eating.
Yes, Filipinos love to eat for sure.
That's when I first struck me. Yes, and then she was so amazed at the number of restaurants. I mean, in one section of of anywhere, just like a slew of restaurants.
I was actually talking to a mall owner, no, and they said before, in the olden days, before the pandemic, or olden days now, parang restaurants were one floor of the mall, right? And now it's like 3 out of the 4 floors of the mall. So parang
Even there's concentration, like if you go to Shumat, there's only
so parang
concentration,
there's
right?
supposed to be some changing lifestyle around even malling these days, where people go to eat as opposed to shop. No. So parang the trends have changed from parang pre-pandemic.
I don't shop,
So
I
that's
eat.
in 10 years that would be the future of Grab.
Yeah, I would think.
What do you mean?
You'd have shopping stores or
No, I mean, I think in 10 years it's hard to say, no? But I think we're committed to parang the path, no? To see how far we can help parang these small MSMEs. So for example, yes, they are able to deliver to us.
You already have the Grab Mart, right?
Yes, it's our
Grab Mart,
parang
but in the app?
supermarket, yeah.
But that's in the app.
Our online supermarket business, yeah.
Really, you have? Can
We do.
Later.
Which is kind of a
Oh,
focus
no,
for me these days.
I'm just
Yeah,
curious. Yeah, so you have.
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, but new phone.
It's just been my phone since 2 years ago.
With the affordable competitors entering the market, how does Grab plan to maintain its leadership?
Yeah. So I think,
Yeah.
competitors are a challenge. No? And
Is it really a
No,
challenge?
they are. I personally welcome competition. No? Because it makes us better, and hopefully it's good for parang the public to have choice. No? And I really believe in that. I think it makes us better. One of the pressures now, of course, if you are trying to compete with us, for example, is you have to come in at a cheaper price. No? So obviously, because you have to differentiate yourself, so that puts pressure on price, which ultimately benefits consumers. No? But kasi kami, we're fairly confident with the value we provide. No? And ultimately, there's a reason I cannot parang fully bring prices down, because you know that drivers and 85% of what people pay for ultimately goes to drivers or parang restaurants. So if I bring down prices, it
It
affects
affects the income.
the other side more than we
To
do.
take.
Oo. Kasi they earn 80 to 85% of it. No? So parang
Okay.
so we need to be consistent with providing value, and at the same time trying to also take care of everyone. No?
So,
Sir, Mr. Roda, but is it really 80 or 85? How come every time I
sharing?
book, every time I book, there's another automatic tip, then 20, 50, whatever, 100.
No, so the tip-
So why would they
that's
be
your
given if they
option.
get already 80?
No, so just-
they
that's-
want tip pa?
No, that's just optional if you want to tip them. If you tip, it goes 100% to them. We don't take anything.
Yeah, but if they're
the
getting
partners.
80%.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
let's think
kinda
about
big.
that while we take a
Oh, tapos
commercial.
na? Oh, my goodness. Those
This break is brought to you by Hyatt Center. Hashtag bigger, better, younger bayad, and you can buy it all. Meralco, ang liwanag ng bukas. SM, we've got it all for you. Smart. Live more today. Union Bank. It starts with you. Tune in to Daily Tribune's show aimed at addressing the needs and problems of our OFWs from different corners of the globe. Hear about their plights and success stories every Tuesday and Thursday, 3 p.m. only on Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune Now on YouTube. Straight Talk dives deep into pressing issues of leadership, politics, business, and more. Engage in insightful conversations with industry shakers, government leaders, and trailblazers every Wednesday at 10 a.m. only here on Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune Now in YouTube.
Utol, once just a colloquial term for a brother or sister. Today, the same term stands for a better option to your transportation needs. Unified Transport Operations League, or better known as Utol, was established to give you an alternative to ride-hailing with the concept of availing the service with care and compassion as if it was rendered by your own sibling. Now, who would you prefer to drive you home? Uto, the ride-hailing app to consider.
So, Mr. Roda, we're back, mga katribu. So, talking about safety for commuters, how do you ensure your platform remains secure and both parties are safe, the partners and the commuters?
So I think safety is a challenge, no? Given thousands and thousands of drivers and different parang customers parang on the platform. So and I think one safety case ultimately ruins your reputation. So we've invested a lot in two things for safety. One is training, and then the other is tech. And so I'll talk about the technology first. No?
Okay.
Being an app, a tech app, we have a lot of tools that help make the passenger and the driver safe. So for example, we have what we call trip monitoring. So for example, you're going north and the app suggested a route to your house.
Okay.
If the driver goes south,
That means there's something wrong.
or that means something wrong, right?
Yeah.
So it will set up an alarm. It will send a message to you and saying, "Hey, are you still okay?"
What do you in
In your
transit?
mobile phone.
On your mobile
While
phone.
you're in transit.
Yeah, while you're in transit. If you don't reply, it will go into some of our parang safety centers, and then it will start to call you.
Okay, so what happens if that happens? What happens if that happens?
So
You send me. You send.
if you don't respond, usually, so typically like so there are parang the app monitors your trip. If you stop suddenly, like for more than 10 minutes, it will like set up an alarm. If you divert, it will set up an alarm.
For instance, the commuter fell asleep or was forced to...
Oo. So instance, if you fall asleep and like you weren't able to respond, it goes to our safety center. Someone will then parang notice that, hey, this car that's supposed to go north is going left or down.
Going astray.
Call the passenger, call the driver now, right? So that's kind of one way.
So what happens if you call a passenger and then the passenger says yes?
No, the passenger says
So
yeah.
what? I mean, do you call the police?
There are procedures to trigger an emergency if it's necessary. But we find kasi that
extreme
parang
na yun.
extreme na yun. We find that, I mean,
No, but I mean, look, what happens if the passenger is really in danger? So there's an ulterior motive to the driver has an ulterior motive. So I mean, so you've alerted me. Then what happens next?
no, we
how do I?
we call the driver too. We actually think that's a good deterrent, that we know what he's doing.
If the driver
That's
really
true.
wants to do harm,
So that's tech, right? That's one
Yeah.
parang aspect.
They
But-
are identified. And,
sana may ano sa police, no?
Hindi, meron kami. We do at the back end. If we need to, we actually have an emergency response team that can arrive, up to parang 15-20 minutes
Trace,
on your site if necessary, working hand in hand with authorities.
So the driver, the passenger can say, "Hey, I'm in danger."
Yeah.
Then you
Yeah,
alert the
then we
police right
trigger.
away?
Then we
Then
deploy.
how long until help comes?
Well, it depends, no, on where you are. But these teams usually get to you in, within 10-15 minutes because they're deployed parang everywhere. And then We have connections with authorities. So a typical example would be car crash. If there's an accident, someone is actually on site very, very fast. And then everything from ambulance, services comes in. We've gotten very good at this over the past few years. No?
Really?
Literally trying to parang be on site if something happens. So that's one parang safety angle. That's tech. The other part is actually on the people side. No? So for example, we found, typically, how do you profile a driver? How do you know he's okay or not okay, right?
Yes.
So the standard ones in the Philippines would be, you get an NBI, police clearance, referral, whatever. That's one way. We're now moving into psychological testing. We're about to launch some partnerships with some universities to do parang psychological testing for drivers. Because ultimately, like, he may be a good guy, pero mainitan pala ulo pag nag-drive, right? So kailangan naming malaman yung mga ganung.
How about Mr. Roda, those instances when the driver is not the one identified in the app?
Yeah. So, oo.
That happens.
What do you mean?
So yeah.
So, let's say,
The one who delivered maybe your food is not the one which...
that happens ba?
So it has happened, but ultimately, like, we have pretty good reporting systems, no? So usually sa car, pag iba yung dumating, automatic, may AI yung chat namin. There's a chat, right?
Yeah.
Sabihin ng driver, kasi typically, nakikita namin, sabihin ng driver, I'm using a different car, di ba? Kunwari,
Delikado
Okay lang.
Fortuner kotse ko, nagpalit ako, di ba? Tapos sinundo kita. I'm gonna start saying,
Yeah,
hey,
that's another case, yeah.
I have another car today, I'm picking up with this.
So
There's AI that detects that. It sets an alarm. No? Or if the passenger
So,
reports you.
If I book, then the
description of the car is
then you give
different.
me the description.
Yes.
Honda.
Yes, Honda ABC XYZ.
Honda. Then the Honda plus the plate number. But dumating Toyota.
Oh, exactly. So typically, what we see is
that's the only that's the only thing that I can identify and ito palang itong tama na ano. But the driver, I
Plus
wouldn't
the
know. I mean,
ID of the
no, but
I
the
wouldn't
driver
know the
also
driver.
has safety features. So the driver, before he logs in, has a 360-degree facial selfie once you start your ride.
So I mean,
You can see,
Yeah.
the
So
driver.
the app is activated not by password but by your face. And then a few times during the day it will randomly test if ikaw yun.
the driver.
Yeah. Like sasabihin niya, after the ride, please revalidate yourself. Yun. So parang kasi we know that
Those things you
these
don't know.
incidents are prevalent. So there really are parang this is where you use tech literally to just monitor
For the
whether
safety and
the
mga
safety of the
features.
drivers.
Oh, that's great to know. Huh?
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah, one more thing that is well, we have to consider is the regulations.
That's
Still, is it still a challenge? Your
Are you happy with the
relationship
regulators?
No, I think
You're happy with it.
our relationship with regulators has gotten better over the years. It is
Who regulates
typically
you again? Who regulates you again?
marami.
Marami.
Every
DOTR?
every industry we're in, different regulator.
What do you mean?
So GrabFood is DTI and DICT delivery. GrabCar
DICT
is
DOTR.
DOTR
Department of
and
DICT is what? What's the
Communications and
and technology.
our Grab
Oh, yeah,
Financial
yeah,
is BSP, and so every business we're in has a different parang
regulator?
regulator.
Yeah. Is there no overall?
Wala, no. So we have to address each of that. No? We've gotten better over the years in managing regulators. Specifically because, every new tech company coming into any country in the world will have a challenge because you're new. And typically there are no regulations to kind of monitor what you do.
Yeah.
If it's a new technology.
If it's a new tech.
New
Oo.
technology.
And so sometimes regulations globally are late compared to you coming in. Right? So as you come in, regulators will say, hey, wait, you need to be regulated. So parang you then need to be able to dialogue with the regulator to create the proper regulations. Diba? Because sometimes it can stifle you or it can be too loose and then like it will be bad naman for everyone. So parang we've gotten better. at managing regulators in every industry we're in, we're very parang forthcoming, and we proactively engage, especially when there's something new. Safety features are an example, right? Like all of these safety features never seen. So may regulation ba dyan? And so kailangan you need to like dialogue properly, right?
Yes.
Oo. Like for example, is there regulation around having GPS on the car? Yes, no? If I put a GPS, okay lang ba yun?
Every step
So
of
every
the
step,
way.
you need to dialogue.
Okay.
Not because parang most of the time regulation lags versus the technology that's created.
Yeah. Oh. Most of the time, yes.
Yeah. In terms of improving the customer experience, there's also a lot of technology that goes into it, right?
Oo, there is.
What-
There's, yeah, for sure. I mean, like, parang, every day you have to optimize parang the tech for your customer. And sometimes it's customer feedback that allows you to change it. So I'll give you one example. My favorite example of using technology is like parang group ordering. So in the past,
What is that group order?
so for example, in the past it was like mag-order ako ng food delivery, ako lang, and then sasabihin ko sa lahat ng office mates ko, gusto mo makisabay?
Gusto mo makasabay.
Gusto mo ng kape? Ikaw gusto mo kape? Gusto mo kape? So, and then you would take down that order and then you would,
And then you pay for it. Then
Yeah,
they pay
and-
you. I mean,
yeah, and then they pay you, right? That's one parang example. Now, that entire parang use case can be automated. So the way we do it now is, there's group order. You can actually send the link of your order via social media, whatever, right? To everyone in the room. I'm ordering from Starbucks. Send. All of you will get a menu. You will then agree, am I splitting the bill between all of you or am I paying for it? And then you all place your order. And then it gets grouped.
and then so in other words, I initiate the activity. Okay, so I say, okay, Chito, Ray-Ban code. Oh, we are gusto Ray-Ban code here. Okay, but it's always my money that that's
Correct.
being.
So now
because-
you can decide.
So you can say now, yeah, but you can. So I can send them whatever. but
Yeah,
that's
a
the
link,
or-
and then you can decide,
so
charge everyone.
So I can only charge. I can only.
the
I'll pay. I
Only for
initiated
yourself.
activity, but I'll pay only for my
Yes.
for what I ordered, and then the
Oh,
other one. Okay, that's good. Now that I know, I'll use that because I'm always victimizing the office.
So the
nice.
next game here, so that's one example, right? We automated parang the technology to do a group order. Now we can try to do group buy. So for example, hey restaurant,
buy naman.
if 50 people buy from you, will you give me a 5% discount or a
Again?
10%
Ah, yeah,
discount?
right.
If people, what's that?
Group
What's
group
again?
buy.
How is that again?
Group buying. Like, di ba, typically sa palengke wholesale, di ba?
Okay.
Bibili ako marami, bigyan mo akong discount.
Okay, okay.
So you could, I think, kind of do that.
When do you use the app?
Like, there's 50 of us, right? Like, we can then start to
Everybody
negotiate
has
with the
a-
restaurant and say, you give us a
Kasi
5-10%
we
discount.
we go to People's Palace, and then there's like 10 of us, and then paano yan? So what do we call? What do
So,
we call People's
behind the
Palace?
scenes, Grab does a
Order.
deal with the restaurant to say, hey, for every 10 orders,
Okay.
I want you to give my customers at 5% discount.
So there are specific
So you can start
restaurants.
to pass on the discounts to customers, di ba?
Can we use the senior citizen card?
Yeah, you can. It will discount.
It will discount.
It will discount for
Automatic.
you.
All
for that
establishments
part.
are honored that senior card. Only some.
So there's a lot of debate
Like
around
for
that
instance,
now.
yeah, like for instance, notorious is Pancake House.
Yeah.
Pancake House never.
Don't mention names.
Why not names? I want to mention them because to alert them that hey, guys, I'm ordering. I'm senior. You should give me.
No, so-
because others do.
No, that's correct.
Obviously.
No, and for us, kasi it's the restaurant shoulders. We're the platform. The restaurant shoulders the discount. No, but there's been a lot of issues around discounts recently, because I know there was a recent expose in the Senate saying
PWD.
80%
Just
of
the PWD.
cards were fake. No.
Yeah.
And so parang restaurants are a bit of up in arms on like, hey, why am I paying discounts to fraudulent people?
Correct. Yes.
So what's happening now is parang they're making it more stringent, no? To parang get a discount, which I think is correct, but ultimately it shouldn't stop people. No? So our role as Grab is to help facilitate that because we're the platform that connects.
How do
For
you...
senior,
yeah.
sorry, for seniors, they
Seniors is
sometimes-
clear. I don't think there's a
kasi
debate on
you
seniors.
present mo lang, you take a photo of your... then you
Itsura pa
send
lang,
it.
okay ka na
Yeah,
eh.
diba? But case in point, I went to Eustacia's last Sunday. There was this girl, perfectly normal, man. I mean, sprite and everything. So I said, are you senior? Of course he wasn't senior. PWD ako. So alam nga naman, can you demonstrate your PWD or your disability?
You know, I think there's a lot.
Anybody can just say PWD and have a card.
No, for sure. There's some.
But senior, talaga, do I look like a junior?
I would say...
Yes, I'm faking my white hair. I'm
It's
junior,
easy for
actually.
seniors and students. Very difficult on PWDs. In fact, like we've actually had to educate our drivers on this to say, hey, PWD is not a physical condition. Kasi na-expect ata nila yung sasakay putol yung paa. Right? They don't realize like,
Baka
there's stuff like mental health.
Baka maliw yan. So, how would you know if the person that you're in a PW psychopath pala yan?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But you know, I think
Anyway.
as people talk more about this, there will come a resolution on how to balance parang
So what happened to
fraud
that?
and-
What happened to that move in Congress about the fake use of PWD cards?
I'm not fully aware of what happened, but like I know there's a lot of discussion on this, and hopefully we get a resolution.
In the sector of food delivery and financial services, what are your overall strategy, Mr. Roda?
So food delivery, as I mentioned, is really helping just empower small parang entrepreneurs, no, and
Small
not
entrepreneurs.
naman small and medium, but
Small and medium.
There's some pretty expensive restaurants there in the no.
yes.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of a lot of these are actually outside Metro Manila. No? You'd be surprised, right? Like,
Even sa Metro Manila.
yeah, like when you go out and you start to digitize.
Yeah,
I don't know. Let's pick a city that we recently launched. Yung mga bago namin city. I don't know, Cabanatuan or Santiago, Isabela.
That's
Diba?
new.
You'd find that there are a
How
lot of
many-
local
Wow.
parang restaurants.
Even there, right?
Yeah.
How many
Local-
areas are you going into this
How
year?
many cities are we in?
Cities.
Cities and towns. Parang 120 na ata kami.
And how many more do you plan to add this
I don't
year?
know. We usually launch mga 20 a year.
20
And
20 a
just-
year.
oh, we
Okay.
just expand
But across the country,
across the country.
all the regions,
Oo. So we
Visayas, Mindanao,
yes,
and Luzon.
correct. Yeah, but we do need permission from each LGU kasi, 'di ba? Business permits and all. So
That's another challenge.
Is it easy? Is it easy for you to deal with the LGU?
LGU.
we've gotten better at dealing with
Very diplomatic.
with expansion. So a lot of the initial
Unpredictable.
challenges.
Are you in Boracay?
We used to be, not yet.
happened?
No, the pandemic. But we are
Through
probably
the
coming
pandemic,
back
you were in Boracay?
right before. Yes.
I was in yeah.
So we go into another commercial
were.
break, Mr. Roda.
Okay.
Yes, I'm clear. Are you in
And this break is brought to you by Bayad Center. Hashtag bigger, better, younger bayad. And you can buy it all. Meralco, ang liwanag ng bukas. SM, we've got it all for you. Smart. Live more today. Union Bank. It starts with you.
Tune in to Daily Tribune's show aimed at addressing the needs and problems of our OFWs from different corners of the globe. Hear about their plights and success stories every Tuesday and Thursday, 3 p.m. only on Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune Now on YouTube.
Straight Talk dives deep into pressing issues of leadership, politics, business, and more. Engage in insightful conversations with industry shakers, government leaders, and trailblazers every Wednesday at 10 a.m. only here on Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune Now in YouTube.
Utol, once just a colloquial term for a brother or sister. Today, the same term stands for a better option to your transportation needs. Unified Transport Operations League, or better known as UTOL, was established to give you an alternative to ride-hailing, with the concept of availing the service with care and compassion, as if it was rendered by your own sibling. Now, who would you prefer to drive you home? Uto, the ride-hailing app to consider.
So mga tribu, we're back.
Yeah.
You're talking about the challenges of adapting to communities beyond the urban centers. So you're able to adapt to tricycles in some places, right?
Yeah, so the way we work outside of Metro Manila is to basically localize to what's available. So there have, for example, in Bohol or let's say in Zamboanga, we've had to come in purely with tricycles as a first step because that's the standard public transport. No? So there, for example, there are no taxis. You work with whatever's there. And so in some cities, yeah, tricycles the norm. Like Zamboanga, where we have maybe 1,000 tricycles now. No? Parang the main means of transport. No?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, has its interesting own challenges. No? So we found out, for example, let's say that Zamboanga has, kunwari na lang, 5,000 tricycles. So you work with the local government to digitize that. One of the challenges we had is, yung 5,000 na yun, 500 lang marunong gumamit ng app. Diba? They're still on the old phones. Yeah. So parang teaching them just to use a phone was a struggle. No? We've actually had to.
Is it actual case in point?
It's an actual case. So one of the things is, but we found out that the children of these tricycle drivers are far more tech savvy. No?
Tech-savvy.
So we actually hired, parang as part-time consultants or teachers, children of tricycle drivers to teach
They
their
get
fathers.
paid for that.
You pay them. You pay
Yeah,
them.
we paid them. So parang we started with, I think,
There you go.
kunwari, 500 tricycles.
That's an interesting story.
Then we trained another 500.
Yeah.
So parang we're,
So, parang dumami yung hindi marunong kasi binabayaran niyo yung children.
What do you mean maraming hindi?
I don't know how to use them. So they have to hire the children as a consultant.
Yeah, okay. But I don't know why kids get their,
yeah, it's normal for them. Eh.
Yeah, do you have an iPhone?
Ano yan eh?
Ah,
Are you using an iPhone?
Peer
yes.
pressure.
This, sorry, I want to say something objectionable, but anyway, this iPhone now, the later models, they always change, they always update the app. And every time you update, hindi mo na alam. So, you confused ano to?
Maybe
I
we
just
can-
give it to my 15-year-old niece. Can you help me?
No, that's true. And by the way, that's
Grabe.
it's a challenge for tech companies like us, right? Because we keep updating our app also. So people struggle
Are
with
you always
using that.
updating your app? Grab. How?
New features, new rollouts. People,
Okay.
so parang education is really a big part.
Yeah, talking about that, what are the newest features that Grab has added so far?
Recently. A lot on safety, which I talked about. Some of the group ordering features. So in the past,
Interesting.
Grab was a one-on-one platform. So
Which means,
you
ako,
want to,
ikaw.
ako, ikaw. I order from McDonald's, I deliver to you. We're becoming a one is to many. So for example, I want to attend Ariana Grande concert in, I don't know, in MOA Arena.
Okay.
So gusto ko, daanan ko yung mga kaibigan ko to go to the concert.
Okay.
The app now allows that.
Great.
Right? So it was you send a link to your friends, they just book where they are, and basically then
Even
all
if,
of you just go.
Even if,
right?
let's say, I'm in Quezon City, she's in Makati, she's in
The app will find the route and pick up everyone on the way.
Is that already applicable?
Yeah, that's group rides for Grab
Sige,
Car.
check that later.
Regarding sustainability, Mr. Roda, what can Grab offer?
What is,
terms of
what is sustainable transportation? We keep on using this word sustainable for everything. I don't know whether people really understand what is sustainable transportation solutions. What does it mean?
Let's ask
Ako,
Mr. Roda.
I look at sustainability differently. I look at it as any measure to help basically the community kind of get better. So there to sustain parang
What?
parang ultimately those people or the communities
The
right, for the long term.
communities.
So it can be anything. An example would
Sustain the
be
survival or something?
yeah. So parang some of it is, for example, not using gas to pollute the environment. Diba?
Yes.
That's an example. So we've had some EV pilots. We're probably launching the first EV fleet
Great.
in Philippines very soon.
Very soon.
Right? Trying to partner with different parang car companies So we want to be ahead of this,
Okay.
even if it's just a try. So we know how to use it, work it, etc. That's one example. But it's not just us. No, sustainability from a Grab standpoint, our drivers do a lot of efforts by themselves. So, for example, I know, and I know this is a hot topic. Marillaque. That
You know, what is so controversial?
that ride. No,
What is so
Malala,
viral
okay.
about? How did it become viral about?
no.
This
I
were-
mean there are a lot of like bad drivers there. But like for example, for us, we have drivers every weekend who drive to Marillaque.
Marillaque is where?
The Rizal,
Rizal
that
area.
highway from Marcos Highway to
Okay,
Quezon.
okay. That's where the accident happened.
So parang we have drivers who go there on weekends to do a ride, but then they use it as a charity to
As a charity.
help plant trees or to parang paint schools. So
Your
that's
your
normal.
drivers?
Yeah. So our drivers. So what our drivers do is they basically submit proposals to us. We want to help School X in Marillaque. Okay, then we help sponsor these things. So
This is their initiative. Their
this
own
is theirs. This is
initiative.
normal.
So are your drivers organized in that manner?
They are organized kasi in groups.
Oh, I see.
So the groups parang help drive certain initiatives.
So they have their projects. They have their,
They
So for us,
think
we're
of
very
their
clear. We tell the
projects.
drivers, hoy, tree planting, okay kami, ganito, okay kami. So lahat ng projects na yan, okay, go. Let's just go
Supportado
with
nyo.
support. Oo.
support in terms of what?
Sometimes, no, it's not financial eh. We don't want to use the financial. Sometimes it's just food. Sometimes it's enabling connections, working with the barangay. So stuff like that.
Okay, great, fantastic.
So can we have
Your
your...
hold on. Your initiatives that are, let's say you think up of something, an innovation or something. Do you have to clear it up with regional? Or
It goes both ways. So there's a standard parang Grab app that is there. But countries can customize that. So my example of that is when we bought a motorcycle taxi company called Move It. We actually had to build brand new tech for that because regulation required totally separate app that was motorcycle centric. So we had to build one just for that. So parang
yeah.
it goes both ways. We can build or they can recommend. Yeah.
So for customers' concerns, when the customer has a concern and it alerts you, is it solved in this level or does it go up the region or something?
No, it's solved here for the most part. No? But mostly these days tech enables. So I'll give you an example. Parang you ordered from Jollibee and kulang yung order mo.
Yeah,
Right?
that
Which-
happens.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
kulang.
Okay.
Walang something.
Walang French fries.
French
Yeah.
fries.
Okay.
So you report. In the olden days, a few years ago, some human had to look at this, whatever. Today, you send a picture, and then the app automatically processes your refund no, in real time.
A refund.
Yeah, and then it charges the restaurant. Kasi yun, di ba? Oh, and then if there's disputes, it's handled after. But like, if you raise it, it's automatically fixed. Tech allows parang... Kasi kasalanan ng resto yun, di ba? Hindi niya binigay yung order. So, pag mag-refund, sino mag-refund? Siya dapat do.
So,
No.
Great. Tapos na?
we're going,
Whoa,
we're
that
going
was
to
fast,
ask Mr. Roda his parting words now.
Okay.
No, I mean, thank you for having me on your show. Good discussion on, various topics from tech to, community and everything, safety. Yeah, look forward to being here again if there's
Yes,
a chance.
please.
Yeah.
My God,
Yeah.
that would be a real
We
pleasure
will-
to have you.
We'll
Yeah.
Part
certainly
two
take
and
your
updates.
offer.
Oo.
And there were other things that I wanted to ask, but like for instance,
Maybe-
I understand
maybe
you-
in part
you
two.
put up like a center. You built a center where your drivers and their families can be educated or something.
Yeah, so we have a
Yeah.
brand new driver center coming up, which to summarize is really, as I said, a function of us trying to make success inclusive. So yes, so to help drivers, there's
And their
a center to parang onboard, fix their concerns, do training, etc.
Yeah.
And it's part of our commitment to drive 500,000 livelihoods.
Fantastic. What location is that?
It's in Marikina.
Marikina.
Yeah. Which we have a 2-hectare parang campus.
Great.
Oh.
Are you starting? Have you started it?
Yeah, it's being built. It'll finish this quarter. And
Fantastic.
hopefully we'll inaugurate
So we
it.
really need the part 2 in this interview.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
But that's all the
I mean,
time
it's
we
always,
have.
it's, I mean, look, a lot of us are dependent on up. Remember when something happened to my
Growing
up?
dependency.
So-
on apps.
Okay.
So
Thank
a
you
big
very
thank
much.
you to our
Thank you
guest,
very much.
Thank you.
Gab Philippines country head Ronald Roda, for sharing his insights with us.
Okay.
And Ted,
Thank you, sir, Mr. Roda. It's been a great conversation, and we're looking forward to seeing how Grab continues to shape the future of mobility here in the Philippines.
yeah. And thank you to all of you joining us, mga ka-Tribu. If you missed any part of this show, you can catch the replay on Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune Now on YouTube.
So we'll see you again next time for another episode of Straight Talk. Stay safe, stay informed, and have a great day ahead.
This public service announcement is brought to you by Meralco.
Alam nyo ba kung saan napupunta ang binabayad nyo sa Meralco? Dito sa series na ito, isa-isahin natin yan para maipaliwanag ko po sa inyong lahat. Ako po si Joe Saldariaga ng Meralco Corporate Communication Office. Alam nyo ba na pag nagbabayad kayo ng bill sa kuryente, nasa mga 20% lang on the average ang napupunta sa Meralco? Sa katotohanan, nahahati sa iba't ibang components ang inyong electricity bill. Kumbaga parang pizza lang yan. Kasama sa binabayaran natin ay ang generation charge na napupunta sa generation companies o mga nag-ooperate ng power plants, transmission charge na napupunta sa System Grid Operator ng Pilipinas, na National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, at iba-ibang charges na napupunta sa gobyerno. Tulad po ito ng mga subsidies, taxes, universal charges at fit-all. Kung tutuusin, tulad nga nabanggit ko, nasa around 20% on the average ang kabuang bill ang binabayad sa Meralco sa pamamagitan ng distribution charge. Ito na ang pinaka-epektibong sistema para sa electricity consumers. Iwas abala ito para hindi na isa-isahin pang bayaran ng iba't ibang kumpanya na dinadaanan ng kuryente. Naway, nabigyan linaw ko po kayo kahit papano sa inyong mga katanungan ukol sa inyong electricity bill. Hanggang sa muli, ako po si Manong Joe, ang inyong lingkod.